Assalamualaikum and good afternoon, McLean Islamic Center and everyone watching from near and far. My name is Uzma Baig and I am here to talk to you guys about reaching for excellence. Inshallah, we can reach as many people as possible. Maybe I'll give it a few seconds if anybody wants to just share this with more people. The more people we share this with, the more we all benefit. Okay, so let's start. Bismillah. Reaching for excellence. Once again, my name is Uzma Baig. I'm a school counselor and a personal coach. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to email me after this webinar is over, inshallah. Okay, some housekeeping tips. Today's programming is recommended for audience of all ages. That includes children, parents, adults, grandparents of all ages. And secondly, please be mindful of each other in the comment section. We are very open to receiving questions and comments. I just like to remind everyone to always be mindful of each other, and just a reminder that everyone is reading the comments. Okay, so today's agenda. First, we will define excellence, followed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's expectations, moving on to excellence in the virtual space, and then excellence in our daily habits, and closing it with some examples of excellence within our own Muslim community at large. And at the end, we will take questions and comments. You are welcome to enter your comments throughout this presentation. Just keep in mind that they will be answered after, unless Sister Yasmin, you feel like there's something that's really urgent. I'd be happy to pause the presentation and answer the question or concern. Okay, so excellence. What is excellence? Excellence is the quality of being outstanding or extremely good at something. So everyone's excellence looks different, but keep in mind excellence is something that means that's something that's extremely good. And we're going to explain that with lots of actual examples, inshallah, moving forward. So what are Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's expectations of us? Well, let's begin with some questions. Why did Allah send prophets to people over and over again? It's to remind people to worship Allah alone and to follow his guidance. That's the basic piece, right? But what is the one thing that all of the prophets had in common? What did they keep doing over and over? They tried their best, right? And they held on to the belief that their reward is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. Again, the message was very similar. It was to remind people to be good to each other and to believe in one creator. That was the basic message. And for some reason, people had a really hard time with that. And our beloved prophets, all of them, they did a great job at trying their best. And we always use them as our examples because they are amongst the best of all of us. In everything that we do talk about, we do keep Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the center, and we always use our prophets as great examples of those that showed us how to really walk the talk. So just keep that in mind, that prophets came and left and they all tried their best. At the end, could they control the outcome of what happened to their people? No, they had no control over that. However, they did have control in the way they delivered the message and followed it for themselves and for their families. Okay, so in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Nahl, whoever works righteousness, whether male or female, while he or she is a true believer, verily to him we will give a good life in this world with respect, contentment, and lawful provision, and we shall pay them certainly a reward in proportion to the best of what they used to do. For example, paradise in the hereafter. So Allah tells us, if we do things the way he has asked us to do, we will get paradise. And keep that belief in mind. Don't lose that. Jannah is there. It's there. Allah made it for us, right? All we have to do is try our best to get to it. And he's already told us how to do it. And today, we're going to focus on one part of reaching that portion, and that is excellence, inshallah. And the best part is Allah rewards us for doing good things. How is that even possible, right? Because he loves us. He loves us so much, and he loves to reward us. He loves to love us. And you and I get rewarded for trying our best. Even if you feel like no one's listening or it's not working out, don't stop. Keep going. And there are so many examples of how Muhammad SAW told us to keep trying our best, and this is one of them. The best of people are those that bring the most benefit to the rest of mankind. Now think about it for a second for yourself, right? Do you have to be on a grand scale to bring benefit to someone? It could be something so simple. Can you think of some ways that you can benefit people? Very simple. If someone asks you to bring them water, right? You're bringing a benefit to someone. If someone asks you to teach them how to read or to teach them how to do something, especially for my younger friends watching, there's so many things you guys know better than your parents. That includes me, right? I'm a parent. There are many things that my own kids do better than me. So does that make them beneficial for me? Absolutely. So all the kids that are watching out there, know and believe that when you do something good, you are benefiting others. Don't ever doubt that. So, does this mean I have to be perfect? No, not at all. It just means that you have to try your best. And trying your best is different for every person. My best is different than your best. And let's see how that looks. So let's take a pause. Everyone, pause. So wherever you are right now, whoever is watching or listening to this webinar, everybody pause. Take a deep breath in with your nose and out with your mouth. Take a deep breath, and we're going to do a quick activity. Now, if you are with someone, you're in luck because this activity is way more fun if you are with someone. If you're by yourself, that's okay too. It works just fine. But when you're with someone, you can compare it. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. Everybody stand up. Wherever you are, stand up. If you have trouble standing up, put yourself in a position where you can move around a little. I won't be demonstrating it. I have a picture to demonstrate what we're going to do. However, I would like for everyone else to follow along this very simple activity. So parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, everyone. I wish pets could join us. I don't know, maybe they could. Every pet is different. But for all of us humans, let's come together and try this activity. Very simple, everyone. Try to touch your toes. So you reach up to the sky and then touch your toes. Very simple. I'll give you all a few seconds to do that. Try your best. And while you're doing that, take deep breaths. In with your nose, inhale, and exhale with your mouth. As you're standing next to others or by yourself, take deep breaths and try your best to touch your toes. And if you have a hard time moving around, try it from your chair. It's okay, try your best. Even if you can't touch your toes, at least reach for it with your fingertips. If you have a hard time reaching for it with your fingertips, try to reach for it with your head. Somehow use every muscle in your body to reach for your toes, even if you don't get there. Okay, it might be silly if you're laughing, that's okay. I'll laugh with you. It is funny, but guess what? It works. It works. Try your best. Okay, I'll give you all a few more seconds and then we can pause and sit back down and then I'll tell you what the purpose of this activity was. Okay. So let's wrap it up. Everyone, take some deep breaths. If you need to drink water, go ahead. And for those of you that found it very easy, great. For those of you, if it was a little bit harder, that's okay. You try it, right? The reason why I did this activity is to show all of us that everyone's best is different. If you were next to someone that was able to touch their toes easily, great, that was their best. And if you only got as far as your knees or as far as your stomach, that's okay. That was your best. So my message here for everyone, for parents, was compare responsibly. When you compare your children to other people, be responsible in that. Don't expect them to be somebody else's best. They're going to be their own best. I'm my own best. You are your own best. And for children, you guys, listen up. This is very important, right? Your elders want what is best for you, and we believe in you. So try your own kind of best. Again, your best is different than my best. Just like when you were touching your toes, right? Your best was different than that of the person next to you. And that's okay. We can look onto others as role models or as someone, as a place where we want to get to, but don't beat yourself over it. As long as you know and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that you're trying your best, that's all that matters. And every day through practice, you can get to where you want to be, especially with stretching. Moving along. Now let's switch over to practicing excellence in the virtual space. Now this is new for many of us, right? As we return to school, inshallah, in 2 days, for those of you returning after the summer break or returning after your Labor Day break, let's talk about what this means. Virtual school for most of us means that we will be taking our classes from home, right? We won't be in our school spaces. That's the space we're familiar with. That's the space we are used to attending. And now things have changed. So maybe in your home, there's been a lot of chatter and talking about virtual school, and there's been preparations going on, and new workspace being set up and whatnot. And that's very exciting. That should help you get mentally prepared, right? Or maybe it's been quiet in your house and you're just continuing what you did last spring, right? And that's great. But let's try to get our minds, let's get get all the juices flowing and ready for virtual school. Because I do believe in my heart that this is going to be the best year ever. And we're going to make the best of it. Because as Muslims, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us, right, that if we try our best, we're going to get paradise. Yeah, Allah will be very happy with us, inshallah. So does that mean you stop trying because your teacher can't see you? No, it means that you might just have to try a little bit harder because your teacher can't see you. Does that make sense? I'll say that again. You might have to try harder because your teacher cannot see you. In the classroom, it's easy for your teacher to see the things that you're doing, right? Even when you're not looking, your teacher can see it. Everything changes when you are in the digital world. That means you have to show many things that you are doing. It might be difficult for teachers to pick up everything through a small window because they have several windows open at once and they have many other students that they're trying to keep up with. So be mindful and respectful of your teachers as you go on to this new journey of starting the new school year. And practicing excellence is very simple. It's always the simple things that are the hardest. So I'm going to share some tips with you guys. And these are things you've already done. These are things, this is not new. I just kind of took all of the old things and put them together. Okay, so if you feel like I missed something, please share it in the comment section. It would be a great reminder for everybody else that's listening and watching. Okay, so before class, what can you do before class, right? Get things prepared the night before. Just like for regular school in person, you got your clothes ready, get your clothes ready. Even for virtual school, yes, it is that important. Go to bed on time. Hopefully you've been practicing going to bed on time. It's very, very important. If you did virtual school last spring, March through June, you know how tired you felt from virtual school. It is tiring. Your body feels tired of sitting down. That means going to bed on time is even more important now than it was before. I mean, it was important then too, but now your body needs to rest more than it did. Wake up at least 45 minutes before logging into class so that you can eat a healthy breakfast, right? So that you can look ready for class. Brush your teeth, comb your hair, wear clean clothes, and of course, smile, right? You want to make your space neat and tidy as well because you are not only getting yourself ready. Remember what I said? Now it's a little bit more work. It is a little bit more work. Now you're not only getting yourself ready for school, you're also getting your space ready, like where you're sitting, right? Like where I am right now. I had to get my space ready so I can be here and ready for you. Same thing for school. It doesn't have to be perfect, just needs to be neat and tidy so you can focus, so you can feel proud of your work. Moving on, during class, try your best to stay focused. It's not easy for everyone. Now, I work with kids of all ages, and I know that it's not easy. And as an educator, I'm a school counselor. So I do have classes with kids, live classes. I have live classes with younger kids. I have live classes with older kids. I know that for some kids, it's very easy to stay focused. And for some kids, it's not as easy. Again, everyone's best is different. Keep that in mind. Teachers, adults, parents, and kids, everyone. Again, your best focus will look different than the best focus of your classmate. But still, try your best and let your teachers know that you are trying your best by asking or typing your questions. Because if you don't ask questions, we educators on the other side have no idea of knowing what's going on with you. So let your teachers and your adults know. And if you do have a school counselor, you can definitely get help from them because we're here to help you. Raise your hand and participate just like you did in class. Raise your hand. We can see that. If your camera's on, your teachers can see that. And again, if 5 kids raise their hands at once, right, your turn will come. It just won't come right away, but it will come. So have some patience. Write down important things. So keep something handy, right? A notepad or something and something to write with. Keep it handy so that if you know, in case you forget, if it's something important, write it down, draw it out, whatever is easy. Just like in class you would have done. Be patient with your teachers and classmates. So you'll notice some classmates, their connection is different than your computer connection. Be patient. Maybe your teacher's technology is not perfect. Again, we're all moving together in this journey, and in order to move together, we have to stop and wait for each other and sometimes even offer help. So I've been seeing some great things, kids helping other kids. So if one student can't figure something out, another one jumps in and says, can I try helping? And it's great because now we're all learning. Now the whole class is learning, right, from each other. So be patient with your teachers and your classmates. You may notice some of your classmates, their connection is slower as compared to yours. It's okay. Be patient. We'll get through it. And again, they're trying their best too, hopefully. And again, technology is not perfect. So it's okay if things seem stuck. So I'm a parent as well. I have kids. And I know my kids also sometimes feel stuck, right? So what we try to tell them is to step away and get help. Get help from an adult or message your teacher letting her know that my connection is not good. I need help. And that's it. And you won't get punished for getting stuck. It's a part of learning, okay? Again, don't forget, you're trying your own kind of best. Now, break time. I love breaks. Don't we all, right? From sitting down in front of a computer for like 30 minutes at a time or 45 minutes when your teachers say, go step away, take a break. Make good use of that break. Now, some teachers are pretty awesome. They'll tell you what you should do, and here's what I recommend you should do. Great, see what they're telling you, and maybe even use their tips. And here are some tips for me. Stretch, do some jumping jacks, jog in place, but get some movement. Sitting down for that many minutes in a row can really make your body exhausted. You can feel really tired and sleepy, especially if it's so quiet in your room and you've got the fan running, right? It's very easy to fall asleep. Don't do that. Don't let that happen. Use your breaks wisely. Get some fresh air, stay hydrated, drink water, grab a healthy snack. Give a family member a hug, guys. We need those hugs to keep us going because sometimes learning is stressful, right? It can cause us to have some big feelings of frustration because sometimes we simply don't understand things, and that's okay. But getting a hug just makes it easier. Okay, so find someone to hug. And if you're next to someone right now, hug them because hugging really does help us in many different ways. And the last thing many kids forget, use the bathroom, guys. Don't hold it. You're at home, You're close to your bathrooms. Use the bathroom just like you would at school. Now you're in the comfort of your homes, most likely, or you're in the comfort of being in a space other than school. Use the bathroom because that's important. So moving along, if anyone needs a break, let's take like a 30-second break. If you need water or need to stretch, do it. I'm gonna drink some water as well, because this virtual stuff is something that we're adapting to and we're learning. So give yourself some breaks. It's okay to do that. It's a part of taking care of yourself and becoming a better version of yourself. Okay, moving along. Excellence in habits. Habits are things that we do frequently over and over, and habits form when we keep on doing them, right? So if you have a habit of always cleaning up after yourself, right? It didn't just happen. You started doing it, right? If you have a habit of eating a snack while watching TV, it didn't just develop. It's something you did over and over. And now your brain thinks that's normal to get snacks with TV, okay? So habits are something that you form over time. You train your brain and your muscles to get into that habit. So take a look at this picture. What's going on in this picture? Is there anyone here that's just feeling anxiety by looking at this picture? Me, I had a hard time pulling up these pictures because I try to keep my space clean. I try my best. I'm not perfect, but my best is to at least try. So the reason I'm sharing this picture with you guys is that it is the small habits that help us to become excellent in what we do. You can't become the best astronomer or the best rocket scientist or the best mathematician or the best technology expert or anything if you don't do what you're supposed to be doing every day, right? These are everyday habits for everyone. These are habits for parents. These are habits for grandparents, for kids, aunts, uncles, teachers, school count, everyone, not just for one person. So create good habits right from the moment you wake up. Remember Allah when you wake up, and clean your space. Whether you're sharing your space with someone. So many times I've heard this excuse. Well, I share my room with my sibling and my sibling leaves it messy. And my follow-up question to that is always, well, do you do your part? Well, usually the answer is no, because we're waiting for the other person to do it. Well, you be that person that takes the lead. Even if the person you're sharing your room, your bed, your space with, even if they're not doing it, it will catch on to them eventually. And you will feel good about doing your part. So if you're sharing a bed with someone and they left their side messy, do your side. Start with that. If you have your own bed, make your bed. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look like a hotel room. It just needs to look neat and tidy. And I'm going to show you another picture. There you go. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be neat and tidy. Look at the two pictures. Look at the two examples, right? These kids, what they're doing is taking the bed cover and putting it on top, right? At the end, you just even it out, and that's it. Your bed is neat, right? And take the toys, the books, put them all away, and that's all it takes. It takes time. It takes some energy. But again, when you start building that habit, getting used to it, it becomes easier over time. And you will feel good about yourself because at the end of the day, you are the one that comes to sleep on that bed, right? And you want to come to a bed that's welcoming. This right here is not welcoming. This bed is saying, leave me alone. These beds are saying, hey, let's take a good nap, right? It says, hey, my room is clean. Okay. Moving along to the next example of habits. What do you guys see here? I see a sink. I see someone that did not do a good job after brushing. Maybe they brushed their teeth, but they did not clean the sink. Again, a small habit that has a big impact. Check your area in the bathroom after you've used it. Very simple. Take a napkin, wipe it off. Try your best. Your best may not look like a hotel bathroom. Again, we don't have to compare everything to the best, right? Because to get there, it takes time, right? So start with just cleaning up, putting things away, right? Like that. Putting things where they belong, making the sink nice and tidy. So in this picture, we have an example of kids cleaning. And with cleaning products, I always say, ask your parents about which ones you can use and cannot use. This girl here at the bottom, she's wearing gloves. That's safe. So again, practice safety in that and take care of your space. If the towels are on the floor, pick them up. Okay, moving along to the next example of our own habits. What do you guys see here? I see a sink full of dishes. No, it doesn't look like it's one person's, for sure. It looks like there's a couple of people that live in this house. Now, what if each person did their own dishes? Would that make life easier? I think so. So start off with yourself. I'm talking to the parents. I'm talking to the grandparents. I'm talking to the kids, the aunts, the uncles, the siblings, everyone. If there's 2 people that live in a house, if each person does their part, the sink would be empty. Very simple formula, right? If each person helped with the common dishes, there would be much less work for one person, right? Because the kitchen and the household is everyone's responsibility, and that's where excellence starts. It starts at home. So here's an example of kids helping out and doing their part, right? You don't have to do all of the dishes. Just do yours. That's what I tell my kids. Just do your own, right? And the habits catch on. The good habits catch on. And I promise, if you practice, it will work. And then you will grow up into a responsible adult. And in the future, when inshallah you guys are grown up and you have life partners and you get married, they'll be very proud of you. And they'll say, wow, you're a pretty neat person to live with. And that's a compliment. Again, you do this for yourself, though, to reach excellence for yourself. These are some examples of just keeping your home and your area clean. And these were not examples where you're doing anything for anybody else. You're only doing your part because excellence starts from you. So how do you show excellence in your daily habits? I would love to see some comments. If you have adults here, I'd love to hear about the habits that you've instilled in your kids or habits that you've seen in other people, right? Or there's a habit that you see in someone else. Give them a shout out and say, I love my niece's or my nephew's habit of doing XYZ. Share some examples. I'd love to hear what are the examples of excellence in your home, because every home has something good to offer. And I'd love to hear that. Now we're almost coming to a close. I'm just going to share a few more things, inshallah. Now we're going to switch over, right, from moving on from knowing excellence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encourages us to practice, to what the Prophet ﷺ has advised us to do, and excellence in our virtual school spaces, to our homes. And now we're going to look at some greater examples in the Muslim community at large. Now we do have some great examples of people that had very few resources, but they practiced excellence in that, and they were able to achieve some really big things and give everyone a good name in our Muslim community and made us very proud. So here's a picture of Ibtihaj Muhammad, right? She's a great example of someone that stood by her beliefs of making sure that she wore her hijab and played a sport. Her family always wanted her to stay involved in a sport. And the sport that she ended up doing was fencing because it was covered. She didn't have to wear shorts or anything like that. And with her limited options, right, she practiced excellence in becoming the greatest fencer. So fencing is what she took up. And alhamdulillah, a few years ago, she made it to the Olympics. And brought home the silver medal, alhamdulillah. She's a great example. And even in her own community and communities around the US, she's doing some great work, sharing great examples of how excellence can be practiced. And again, we share these examples so that we can all learn from their habits and the choices they had. Because she had other choices, but she chose this specific path for a very specific reason. And alhamdulillah, subhanahu wa ta'ala gave her a lot of success. Another example, Hamdi Olokea. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing his name. He's a great example. He's the founder and CEO of the Chobani company. You've probably eaten their yogurt. Really good yogurt, delicious. His belief was very simple when he started the company. We're going to give people the best yogurt. And the best means giving wholesome ingredients. Wholesome meaning healthy ingredients, real ingredients. And he was confused as to why would you do anything different? And the surprising thing is there were many companies at the time that weren't offering wholesome ingredients in the yogurt industry. SubhanAllah. He took a very basic thing and he said, I'm going to be the best at this one thing. And so, but testing and trying out different things, he came up with the best Chobani yogurt, and he continues to improve it. And not only is he doing great work there, he's doing so much work. He's doing so much for the people that work for him, teaching them excellence and doing so much work in the communities as well. So these are some great examples. But I do believe that every day you and I are surrounded by people that practice excellence. So I'm going to go down the list, very simple, like some people that I can think of. So as soon as I sit in my car and I'm driving over to the grocery store, right? I get out of my car, and in the parking lot right away, what's the first thing I see? One of the first things I see, the employees of that supermarket that are collecting the carts. They do it so neatly and perfectly. Now, if someone gave that to me, I would struggle with that because I don't have practice. But the people that I see, they're doing it the best way that they possibly can. You go inside the store, right? The cashiers that are working, you will see the ones that are doing their best, they will stand out. If you ask someone for help at a grocery store, unfortunately, not everyone's always willing to offer help. And that's okay for them. Everything is a learning experience. But what we learn from that is if you do your job, regardless of what that job is, do it with excellence, do it with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in mind, and you will stand out. And there's no such thing as big or small. Not everyone makes it to this level, right? These are great examples for us to reach, but we have to focus on the everyday, because every day is where it really is for most of us, right? So pay attention to the people in your school community, in your masjid community, in your local community, and in your families, right? I'm sure your parents are very hardworking people, or maybe you know some other hardworking people in your life that whatever it is that they do, they're trying their best. So not everyone gets fame and fortune like that. However, Allah is not judging them based on fame and fortune. He's judging you and I, and all of us, on trying our best. What is your intention? Are you giving it your best? Are you practicing excellence? So think of someone. Do you know anyone that fits into that description, who's trying their best? It could be a custodian. It could be, in your neighborhood when you have the trash collection. It could be someone who's, cleaning up in your neighborhood. Could be someone mowing the lawn. It could be the police officer in your neighborhood. It can be the postal service worker. It can be the engineers in your community. It can be the architects, the doctors and nurses. I mean, the list is so long, right? Who do you know? So I'd love to hear, I'd love to see some comments. So I'm giving you guys some blank frames here to fill in some names and faces in your mind, and think of who fits into that. And if you do know of that one person or those few people, take a moment to tell them that, hey, I love the way you practice XYZ. So if they're a teacher, remind them, I love the way you teach us how to do this. You do it so perfectly, right? Or if it's your mom, right? She does something really well. Tell her, Mom, you do this really well. I want to practice with you. Or your dad, or your grandparents, or your cousins, aunts, uncles, neighbors. So find someone to fit into that frame. I think it should be very easy. Once you start looking, it's very easy to find people. And I'd love to see that in the comments section if you guys are willing to share. It doesn't have to be their names. It could just be, I know someone in my community and they do it really well. That's it. Very simple. And this brings our topic to a close. And I'd like to close it with the greatest of all time, the greatest boxer of all time, Muhammad Ali. He said, if my mind can conceive it or think of it, and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. Again, we have some great examples. Follow those great examples. And inshallah, you will make this school year the best school year ever. And this is not only for the kids, this message is also for the parents and the adults and the caregivers, everyone who's listening. Excellence is something that we can all reach towards, starting with myself. I can take questions now. If anybody has questions, Sister Yasmin, do we have any questions in the comments section?
No, I didn't see any questions. If anyone has anything, they can ask now. Thank you so much, Sister Uzma, for that wonderful talk and for all the great tips. We thank everyone for joining us today, and we hope everyone has a wonderful first, and actually for some of you guys, second week of school, virtual schooling or homeschooling or whatever it is you are doing this year. We thank you again. We hope that you'll join us again next week for our weekly community halaqah at 1:30. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
So we did have one question, Yasmin.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
Yep. How to get your kids follow instructions? Great question, Salua, if I'm saying that name correctly. Now, instructions are best if they're broken down. You don't have to do all of the instructions at once. And again, it depends on the age of your children. It depends on their ability to sit and listen and follow instructions. And again, it's very basic. Stick to the basics. Be patient with your kids. Explain it to them slowly, because many times we have a habit as parents, myself included, that we go through it because for us it's so easy to understand those instructions. All you have to do is cut this paper and glue it. But for younger kids, those are 2 steps, right? Or 3 maybe. Find this paper, right? Cut it and then glue it. These are 3 steps in one. So again, don't look at instructions the way you would for yourself. First, define it for yourself as a parent. So that means you're pausing and stepping away. And then you're explaining it to your child and then asking them what they understood from those instructions. It takes time, especially with virtual schooling. We're all learning about our own, not only about our parenting techniques, but also our teaching, learning and then teaching techniques. Inshallah, you will get there. If you have more specific questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is on the screen, uzma@brightrootscoaching.com, and I'd be happy to answer more questions. Any other questions, Yasmin, that I missed on a different screen?
I didn't see anything else. Sorry about that.
No worries. It's okay. I just saw it pop up. Alhamdulillah. Okay, thank you so much. Jazakallah khair for everyone for being here. And like Yasmin said, all the best with this virtual school, homeschool, whatever journey you're taking, we're in it together to learn and grow in excellence, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Wa alaikum salam.